Hey guys, it's Cole, the Fanatically Normal Climber, and I'm actually going to be doing a review today on the 510 Hiangle. This is a sort of really popular shoe. A lot of people have known of it. A lot of people have probably worn it. This is actually sort of a newer thing to me. I've been looking at it for a while, and I finally snagged a pair about 2 or 3 months ago, and I've really put it through its paces. So let's start off with what does 510 say about it? Well, it's their stiffest performance shoe, and it's also a really great all-arounder, and it lived up to that. It's certainly more of a jack of all trades, master of none, but it does everything well enough that it sort of gets by. So let's start off with the fit. So this is the leather version. And as we all know, leather stretches a bit, but because of this sort of toe patch, it's not going to stretch a whole lot. So my street shoe size is a 10 and a half, and I decided to go down to a 10. And after 2 sessions of actually, I got blisters on my feet. My toes got flappers. But after about 3 or 4 sessions, they finally broke in, and I'm able to wear them all day. And they stretched about a quarter to a half of size. I think next time I buy a pair, I'm gonna go down into a 9.5, just because they're losing their downturn a little bit. So I think next time I'm gonna go down, and they were comfortable enough that I can see myself going down a full size. But it comes down to what you want and um, what you're looking for in a shoe. So that's just my thing. As you guys know, I have a pretty regular volume foot, C width, low volume heel, and these fit really well. It fits the forefoot kind of well, and they did stretch out a little bit to fit my foot, which is kind of nice. And there's very little dead space in the heel. It's just a tiny bit, but not enough to really. It's not like it's coming off my foot on a heel hook. So let's get straight into performance. So I live in the southeast, and there's a lot of sandstone, and that's sort of what I've been primarily using it on, and as well as in the gym. So I guess we'll start with gym performance. So the first time I wore these, I went to Stone Summit, Atlanta, and it's got this massive overhang wall. It's one of the best lead gyms in the country that I've been to, and these perform really well. So as I'm sure some of you have heard about it, it is stiff. It has C4 rubber, 4.2 millimeters or so. So it's kind of it's got a lot of rubber. It's not super soft, and it's got a full outsole, so it gets some of that rigidity coming through the middle of the foot, and um, it gave me a lot of support for a long gym session. Obviously, I'd take it off in between belays, but what really shocked me is how sensitive it was actually. So when I was using it on plastic, I was able to feel a lot of stuff. Obviously, not like 510 VXIs, which like you can literally feel everything, but I could feel enough that I could sort of get off of it versus some of my old clanker shoes like the La Sportiva Finales. I couldn't feel a freaking thing. They were like boards. With this, I could feel enough to sort of feel comfortable pushing off and trusting my feet. But I still got a lot of support that I didn't get with, say, the Evolve Aggro or the Evolve Oracle. Um, and I use these on the overhanging wall, which is like in some places it's a 90-degree overhang, and these were perfectly fine for toeing in on the edges, keeping my feet on the wall, and then even on their like slab section, they fit really well. My second session, I brought them to the Midtown gym, which is their boulder gym, but it also has a lot of compy stuff. So think volumes, big dynos, like that kind of stuff, and and sketchy slabs. And these also performed very well there. I could sort of stand on the volumes. There was enough give that I felt comfortable with enough contact on the volume, and even on those smaller edges, they felt good. Um, and now we're sort of going to move into the outside performance. So I mainly climb sport, but I did take these on like 1 or 2 boulders, but mostly sport. So I'm going to talk about that first. So um, in the southeast, there's a lot of sandstone. That's what it's known for, and I used it a lot on there. So one of my trips was to Little River Canyon. I was trying Girl 512A. very hard. But it starts on sort of a weird like 5-9 minus um, slab sort of thing. Not really slab. It's like vertical and kind of like small. Those little tiny like credit card edges that aren't really edges, but you need to like. These felt really good. I could feel sort of what was there, and it was enough that I felt comfortable standing on those. You break into the overhanging part, and it's a lot of shelves. So like they're not really like they're jugs, but they're sort of like flat shelves, and you can really get your full hand in there, but they're super flat, and I use a lot of heel hooks on them, and so I got the sort of the heel, and it fit very, very well um, in those slots, and I felt super secure. Then you get to the point where you can't really get a heel anymore, and so you kind of like have to move your feet out and press them up against some flatter surface, and these also work very well. And there were some parts where I had to cut my feet once or twice, and I felt there was no problem with me toeing in back on the wall that you might feel with some other shoes that are a little bit stiffer and maybe, you know, not at, and maybe are moderately downturned. So you then break into a slab, which isn't really slab. It's like slopey and sort of big moves. And these perform well there. And I've also brought them to other places like Castle Rock, which is a lot of vertical tech, and I felt very comfortable stepping up on smaller edges and crimps on these as well. What do I think? These are a very good shoe. They're, like I said, a good all-around shoe. I would not necessarily take them on really, really small edges, so I actually use them at Boat Rock, which is, and this goes into the bouldering thing, which is a lot of sketchy granite slabs, and I really just didn't feel comfortable on those really small edges because these don't give enough support for me to really feel comfortable. Also, the sensitivity lacks in that regard, so I actually end up switching my Futuras, which I use for slab a lot more. But yeah, everything else, like they're just a really great all-arounder. I wouldn't say if you want to have a shoe and you're not sure what you're going to be climbing and you want to bring it, this is the shoe. It works really well in the gym, super sticky rubber, stiff enough, but I would say that it's not specialized. It's a great shoe if you're going to do a little bit of everything, but I still have multiple shoes in the quiver, and I think that this has sort of become more my gym shoe because it does so well everywhere. And I've sort of moved on to the Testarossas outside, and I'll talk a little bit about those later. But yeah, that's my sort of thing on the 510 Hiangles. I think next time I get a pair, I'm going to go to a 9.5. I don't know if I already said that. Just because I think that they would stretch out a little bit. I would be okay with them going to 10.5, and the way they break in, it would work well. So that's my view on the 510 Hiangle. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah.